everyone, it's me, Chris from Body Nova Fitness Coaching. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. It's been a difficult year for a lot of us, and I'm hoping that this year, we have more of the tools that we need, whether that's internal within our hearts and within our minds, to find the strength to be able to pull it together, or we just have better circumstances altogether for which we can move forward and pursue our fitness goals. Okay, having that being said, this is actually part 2 of a different video I made quite a while ago, the nutrition tutorials, where I kind of focused around the breakfast and weighing the foods and measuring the foods. I had my digital scale, my measuring spoons and my measuring cups and things like that, so I can weigh and measure the foods. I had my phone app to where I can track the foods once I've calculated my macros and all that stuff. If you need help with that, I might be able to point you in the right direction, but I do that, as part of my, for a living. So, okay, keep that in mind. Okay, so in the part 1, like I said, I focused kind of more around the breakfast. I got to the breakfast and it was getting a little long, so I cut it there, but I've been sitting on this footage for probably at least 3 months. So I made this into part 2 because there were things that were valuable in there that might be helpful to some of you guys as to start this new year, and some of us try to get back on our fitness here. So here we go. All right, so another thing I wanted to say as I go through the rest of these meals, because like I said, right now I'm not perfect. I'm working on getting my appetite back, and trying to meet the macros first and then try to push in more healthy foods, push out maybe some of the unhealthy foods and push out in some more healthy foods, while at the same time doing something I can stick with. So progress isn't always, you don't need to be perfect to make progress, but you do need some sort of way to figure out how much you're eating and stick to it and get yourself on a plan where you can, you're not eating too much, but you're eating enough to help your body do what it needs to do. And as I say that, before I get into my second meal, I had a client and she loved Flaming Hot Cheetos. And she rocked the shit out of Flaming Hot Cheetos and lost 40 pounds, okay? 40 pounds in, 3-4 months. Okay, granted, she had that to lose, but she counted out and she could tell me exactly, oh yeah, 13 Cheetos is a serving of Flaming Hot Cheetos, but she kept losing and she kept that in. So that's kind of going in what I was saying earlier about how the calories matter more than everything else, okay? So as I say that, meal 2, chicken thigh. Of course, it's got the bone. I keep the skin on all the time because, I like the flavor. And I used to eat chicken breasts at least one a day, and some of them were as heavy as 10 ounces. At least one a day for over, I'd say about a 4 or 5 year period when I was bodybuilding. And I just get nauseated at the sight of the thought of eating a chicken breast and the thought of eating normal egg whites. If I can smell them, I don't want to eat them. So as I'm saying that, here I have the chicken thigh. Now, of course, I don't have control over the size of the chicken thighs, and usually after I cook them, that's when I do my weighing. And I got a conversion in here. Mine is with the bone. So what was it? 6 ounces with the bone was the same as 5.1 ounces without. So if I wanted to cut fat, that's another opportunity I can cut fat, because I can go with a boneless, skinless chicken thigh, have a little bit more fat and a little bit more flavor than a chicken breast, but still lower fat. And then I can also make up for that. I can add a little bit more fish oil, but I've already added, as you'll see in here, I've already added a tablespoon. 3 teaspoons equals a tablespoon of that. Okay, now I'm getting into the, I added rice. I measure after it's cooked. So, but with the numbers with rice, 1/3 of rice will triple after you cook it because it soaks up the water and all that. So my conversion here is based off of 1/4 of a cup of uncooked rice. Okay, and so When it's cooked, it'll be 3/4 of a cup. And so I'll have those macros. I just scoop out 3/4 of a cup from the deal there, and there's my macros. And green beans. Green beans are easy to get. They're everywhere. They're not really expensive, and stuff like that. So 2/3 a cup, boom, it's right there. You can see it. There's my macros for that meal. So moving on, meal 3 is really, and I had a high amount of rice because this was the meal before I worked out, okay, or the last solid meal before I worked out. I do have aminos, beforehand, but sometimes that's also a performance thing because some of those aminos help your endurance, help you with bigger pumps, help you your nervous system be a little more amped up without having to feel using caffeine and stimulants and stuff like that. So they use that. So I have that as my pre-workout aminos as meal 3, and those amino acids are broken down bits of protein. Okay, and each gram of amino acids is like a gram of protein to the body. So I do count them, and they do count as calories. I don't care what anybody, because I know people, they would try to do an intermittent fasting, but then I take aminos and stuff like that. It's like, you goofball, it's still freaking calories. You're not fasted. And so I count my aminos in there, in there. And then, of course, my post-workout protein drink. I have to do a separate video for this, but if you're subscribed to the site, I do have it in the food guide. I do have this part that I'm going to talk about in the food guide, where the post-workout nutrition is. What the research comes down to is, when was your last meal in relation to your workout, okay? If your last meal was more than 2 hours ago, then, post-workout nutrition, pre-intra, whatever, depending on which one you put up there first, becomes more important. So I have my post-workout nutrition and stuff like that, and then the meal that I have following it, which I'm actually calling meal 4. Oh, actually, scratch that. Back up. I do have an intra-workout, which I sip on essential amino acids during the workout too, because my body can't digest normal foods during the workout. I do a lot of work, a high volume of work. So I have an intra-workout, and those are aminos. So, aminos are broken down bits of protein. So I count that as calories too. So getting with the post-workout drink, I'm taking that, I'm doing the protein immediately as I leave the gym. By the time I get home, I've had that, and I've had the carbs, and I had coconut water in there because coconut water seemed to do well for my performance and my health and things like that, helped me sleep a little bit better. It has potassium, which most of us is deficient in, so I have that in there too. So, and so usually within an hour, because mind you, I work out late. I'm usually getting home 10 o'clock or later most of the time for my workouts. But in this case, your body can still suck up nutrients and store them as glycogen. So this is the meal where I would have, as you see, I'm actually having a hamburger with pepper jack, but it's my hamburger. I'm using 93% lean beef, a bun, nothing outrageous or too outrageous. I do have fries with it, which are baked in an air fryer, so I can keep my fats somewhat under control. I have a high protein, and then that is the time I have a soda with it, okay? I do have a soda. I'll have a Coke. It'll be up to 70 grams because you look at this, and it's like I have 75 grams left. Coke in a 20-ounce bottle is 75 grams, so that's what I'm having with that, which I didn't put it down, so shame on me. But at the time, we're still kind of in that window of the post-workout deal there. My body will take that and store that as glycogen, and that's kind of my way of being able to get away with cheating. But if you don't do your macros right, you don't know it. So, and then again, intra-workout, I talked about intra-workout. So you'll see where I go with this, and you'll see how I'm kind of manipulating it once I have my macros, once I have my calorie intake, and how I'm working this. But I'm weighing and measuring foods in order to get the caloric value of what I'm eating, and I'm putting it in the app, which has those numbers, so I can get the values for that. Okay. I also tend to have a lot of custom foods. When I started, a lot of the protein powders and sometimes it's a recipe where I had to plug it into a recipe calculator and get the macros for. So I would make that as a custom meal. I would store that in this app under custom meals. And then I could just punch it on in anytime I want. I don't have to break it down by ingredient. I don't have to guess, anything. I just punch it on in, and it's just really convenient. So I always know where I stand. And again, I can be proactive, not reactive. So it's like, okay, darn, I had too much fat at breakfast. Then I can't be just going crazy throwing up fish oil everywhere unless I have somewhere, unless those calories can come from somewhere else, or I have room by cutting some of the other fats in my day, So that's something I want you guys to think about as we're doing this. And I want you to know and understand that if you're tracking, if you're conscious, or if you understand how much you're eating and stuff like that, it empowers you to be able to do things, to make changes to your diet as you're ready. Okay, don't force them. Do them as you're ready, and you'll still be making progress because you're following your nutrient intake, but it's not going to be as much of an intrusion of your life as trying to force yourself to eat healthy will be. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you let me know, and I'll get to you. I'll answer them. Because there's much more about this, or there's a lot of things I could do that you can do, but I figured just by what I have up here, you get the gist of what I'm trying to say.